All right, let's get into it. Today, we are popping the hood, figuratively speaking, to really understand what makes a modern car tick. We're going to demystify this whole thing.
So, you ever really think about it when you're driving? You just push your foot down on the gas pedal and this huge, heavy machine just moves forward. It feels kind of like magic, right? Well, it's not. It's actually this incredible chain reaction, and that's what we're going to break down.
So think of it like this. We're about to go on a journey. We're going to follow the power, right? From that very first spark, that little explosion inside the engine, all the way to when it finally hits the pavement and makes your wheels spin. Let's get started.
Our journey starts right where you'd expect, in the heart of most cars out there, the internal combustion engine. This is where all the magic, or rather, the science, really begins.
Yeah, you heard that right. Explosions. A whole bunch of them. As you're just cruising down the road, your engine is creating thousands upon thousands of these tiny, perfectly controlled explosions. Every single minute. That's what's pushing you forward.
So how does that work? Well, it all happens in what's called the four-stroke cycle. It's a constant, super fast process. Okay, first up, intake. The piston drops down and it sucks in a mix of air and fuel. Think of it like taking a breath. Step 2 is compression. Now the piston shoots back up and squeezes that mixture really, really tight, to pack a bigger punch. And that brings us to the main event, power. A spark plug ignites that compressed mix, kaboom, and the explosion forces the piston down with some serious force. And finally, you got to clean up the mess, right? That's exhaust. The piston comes back up one last time and pushes all the used up gases out. So it's suck, squeeze, bang, blow. Intake, compression, power, exhaust. Over and over, thousands of times a minute. It's wild.
Okay, so you've got all these pistons flying up and down like crazy, but up and down doesn't make a car go forward, right? You need rotation. That's where this thing called the crankshaft comes in. Its whole job, and it's a super important one, is to take all that up and down motion and turn it into a spinning motion. It's kind of like how your legs pump up and down on a bicycle to make the wheels go round.
And hey, you know that RPM gauge on your dashboard, the tachometer? Well, now you know exactly what it's telling you. RPM stands for revolutions per minute. It's literally counting how many times that crankshaft is making a full 360-degree turn every single minute. So when you hit the gas and see that needle climb, you're just seeing your engine working harder and spinning that crankshaft faster.
So we've figured out where the power comes from, those little explosions spinning the crankshaft. But how do we actually talk about that power? You hear these words all the time, right? Horsepower, torque. They're not just fancy marketing terms. They actually describe very different things about how a car feels to drive.
Let's kick things off with horsepower. The old school analogy is still the best one, honestly. Imagine you have 200 horses pulling your car. That's kind of what 200 horsepower is. It's really a measure of how much work the engine can do over time, which for you as the driver really translates to how fast you can ultimately go. It's all about that top-end speed.
But, top speed is one thing. What about getting off the line in the first place? That's where torque comes in. If horsepower is the engine's speed, then torque is its raw muscle. It's that grunt, that initial twisting force that gets you moving from a dead stop. It's what pushes you back in your seat when you floor it, and it's what lets a big truck pull a giant trailer.
So here's the simplest way to think about it. Torque is about how quickly you get going. Horsepower is about how fast you can go. Torque gets you from 0 to 60, horsepower determines your top speed on the highway. A sports car? It's going to want a good balance of both. A huge semi-truck? It's all about that massive torque to get its heavy load moving.
Okay, the engine's done its job. It's made the power. But how do we get that power to the actual wheels on the road? This part of the journey is all about two key players, the transmission and the drivetrain.
The transmission? Honestly, the best way to picture it is the gears on a bicycle. You know how you shift to a low gear to start pedaling and a high gear to go fast? That's exactly what a car's transmission does. It picks the right gear for the job. With a manual, you're the one making those choices, with the clutch and stick shift. With an automatic, the car just figures it out for you, which is why they're so smooth for everyday driving.
And then there's the drivetrain. This is all about which wheels are getting the power. Most everyday cars are front-wheel drive, or FWD. The front wheels both steer and pull the car along. It's simple and efficient. Then you have rear-wheel drive, RWD, which you see in a lot of sports cars. The back wheels push the car forward, which can give you better balance. And finally, all-wheel drive, AWD. Just like it sounds, power goes to all four wheels. This is what you want for amazing grip in the rain or snow.
Let's talk about staying in control. I mean, having all this power is great, but it's totally useless if you can't control it, right? And that's why modern cars are just packed with these amazing safety systems. They're like an invisible co-pilot, constantly working in the background to keep you safe.
I love this idea of guardian angels because that's really what they are. So picture this. You have to slam on your brakes. Instead of the wheels locking up and you skidding, ABS kicks in, pulsing the brakes so you can still steer. Or maybe you hit the gas a little too hard on a rainy day. Traction control senses the wheels spinning and cuts the power just enough to get you grip. And stability control, that's the real hero. If you swerve to avoid something and the car starts to slide, it'll break individual wheels to straighten you out. It's incredible stuff. Okay, so everything we've talked about so far, pistons, explosions, gears, that's been the story of the car for over 100 years. But there's a huge shift happening right now, a quiet revolution that is completely changing the game. And you know what I'm talking about, the electric car.
When you boil it all down, the difference is actually pretty simple. A gas engine is this incredibly complex mechanical thing designed to harness explosions. An electric motor? It just uses magnets. A rotating magnetic field creates motion. That's it. No explosions, no gasoline. It's a total shift from complex mechanics to elegant electronics.
Think about this for a second. To make all those explosions happen and turn them into motion, a normal gas engine has more than 2,000 moving parts. Pistons, valves, crankshafts, belts, gears. It's like a mechanical orchestra where every single piece has to be perfectly in sync.
Now, what about an electric motor? How many moving parts does it have? About 20. Nope, that is not a typo. Over 2,000 versus 20. That simplification, that jump, is honestly one of the biggest changes in the entire history of cars. And that incredible simplicity leads to incredible efficiency. See, in a gas car, a huge amount of the energy from the gasoline is just lost as heat. It doesn't do any work. Only about 20% of it actually makes the wheels turn. But with an electric motor, something like 2/3 of the energy from the battery goes straight to moving the car. It's just a much, much smarter way to use energy.
So what we're really seeing here is a fundamental change in what a car is. They're going from these super complicated mechanical puzzles to, well, powerful and efficient computers on wheels.
And that kind of leaves us with a really interesting question to think about, doesn't it? For 100 years, if you understood cars, it meant you knew about engines and pistons and oil changes. But as we move into this new era, as cars trade all those moving parts for millions of lines of code, what's it going to mean to understand your car in the future? Will it be more about software updates than spark plugs? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.